I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Achilles and his gold, Hercules and his gifts, and Spider-Man's control, and Batman with his fist. And clearly I don't see myself upon that list, but she said, where'd you wanna go?
These guys were just spit today. More unimaculata, wahau fry. Pretty much all produced by my one stud male. It looks a little pale right now because he's in an all white tank. Yes, betta fish do adjust their color according to their surroundings. I pulled the unimaculata long humbung out of a tank that also had white along the panels and bottom. And as soon as I placed him with the female in a darker tank, he completely changed to a dark pattern and showed all his really amazing color. This male's produced all in all over 100 fry for me, and I'm not even including what's currently in this batch. He's an amazing breeder, and I think it's about time for him to catch a little break. He's been with the female off and on quite a few times, and she's always down to spawn. But I'm going to give him a break for the next couple months or so, because I do have lots of these unimaculata long humbung currently growing out. So, as a matter of fact, I'll show you real quick. There's some Betta Fry. This is a batch that he held and spit out months ago. These guys are already feeding on micro worms. I'm sorry, white worms. Both super small juvenile white worms and some medium-sized adults. It's probably close to about 40 or so in this tank. And this current batch looks like it's probably pretty close to about the same. And I also have a 10-gallon tank up top that already has another 50 or so growing out, and those guys are actually an inch and a half to 2 inches long. So when you let these fish go, you let them do their thing, you continue feeding them live food, you do your water changes consistently. I recently started paying more and more attention to pH than I ever did before. And I've also noticed that when I started paying more attention to pH, like for example, with my ocelota group, I was doing water changes on my ocelota group and brought them down from a 6.8 pH down to about the mid to low fives. And all of a sudden, after doing a series of water changes and slowly bringing their pH down, all three males at the same time, all three males are all holding, and they all spawned within the same week, within days apart, and that was all due to the water changes. I'm convinced. Water changes, pH, maybe some barometric pressure change, but I think pH has a lot to do with it also, and I think we neglect pH in a lot of fish, including the macrostoma. A lot of people believe that, of course, macrostoma are very flexible, anywhere from 4s to 7s, depending on if they're captive. But if they're wild caught, they do appreciate low 4s to 5. And I've noticed the coloration and the appearance in my male. I currently keep him in a 40 breather with about 4.5 pH, and he looks a lot better than he did when he was in a 20-gallon high with a pH that was about 5.5 to almost 6. He does definitely appreciate the lower pH. I noticed that for a fact. So pay attention to your pH, do your water changes, feed your fish live foods. Frozen foods are good, but make sure they're meaty. Protein, live foods are important also, especially if you're conditioning for spawning. And you'll get fry like this. I'm no genius. I'm just a very lucky fish keeper. I kind of fell into wild betta fish, and I've absolutely drawn and have grown a passion for them. I've kept everything from reef tanks to paludariums to exotic reptiles, and in my opinion, I've never gotten so much joy out of a group of fish than I have with wild betta fish. They are by far the finest species of fish you can keep. most of which are unidentified, some of which are people just guess what they are. So we're talking about fish that in due time will be completely gone from their natural habitats and will only be found in wild caught collections or collections in general like mine and yours. Thanks guys, Function Built Aquatics.
Oh, I want something just